Hi everyone. I just wanted to shortly talk about the Firepower Enhancement Artillerist and my thoughts on the class as someone that's been playing the class since day one. It's definitely not my main, for sure, but it is a character that I've invested, a little bit into here and there. I have 2 level 9 gems on my 2 hardest hitting skills, and the rest are 7s. I used to have another level 9 for my air raid, but I sort of put it on some other more important high priority character. And the damage of this class is pretty low. It's, low, mid. In a real raid setting, in a long raid, let's make that clear, the damage is not terrible actually. It's just mid to low mid. And for a class like this, I think that's completely fine. Not every class can do very high damage. The class has, decent stagger, is very easy to play. So I don't mind that it doesn't do that much damage. And with the balance patch that's coming soon, hopefully, in North America, we also have our weak point problems taken care of, because right now in the NA version, we have 1 weak point skill on homing barrage. That's it. So weak point is kind of an issue currently, but that's okay, as it's going to be fixed. But what I want to sort of emphasize is that my biggest problem with this class isn't really the damage, because, and again, I know in the future balance patch, more damage is always good, and don't get me wrong, and in the balance patch, our heat bomb skill got buffed. Our multi-rocket launcher got buffed. Very nice. But it hasn't really solved the core issue of this class, which is this firepower meter. Okay. Now let me tell you, just in case if people aren't very familiar with what firepower enhancement actually does, is when the firepower meter is full, you do 28% bonus damage. Okay? The incoming damage by 15% is nice. Sure. Not exactly sure why it's there. It's nice, I guess, but I hope that's not really that's not changing anything. Like, if the 15% wasn't there, should we be stronger? Who knows? But what's important is when this meter is full, we get 28% damage on our abilities. Okay? Now, independent of the engraving, what does the firepower meter do? Well, at max level, we do 30% more damage to foes. So if this thing is not at full, we are missing 28% damage from our engraving and 30% damage. And yes, at level 1, level 2, blah blah blah, it does increase by 10 to 20%. But keep in mind, when this meter is not full, we lose a lot of damage because of this and this. Now, in raids like a con where like even in a raid like a con, right? Okay, so here's the issue, guys. So you would think, okay, no issue, right? You just have to build the meter and then do damage. But let's see how long it takes to build this meter, okay? So what would a usual sort of thing be? Maybe put 2 turrets down. Q, W, E, R, S. Okay, so we get our meter full by the time pressurized heat bomb is used. And then after we get our meter, we can do normal damage, quote unquote, right? Now keep in mind that at max meter, we start to do like mid-low damage. Okay, when I do this parse, I start from full meter. I'm not going to be building gauge at the start of the parse. So again, the problem is in order to do low mid damage, we have to first use all our abilities essentially to gain this meter. And by the time you've gained the firepower meter, only one of your strongest skills is enhanced. Right? So why do we have to use our strongest hitting skills to build meter to do damage? Is something that I don't really understand with this class. And you see now that after a couple of seconds, the firepower meter is dropping. So in a con, for example, when we have to do maybe shapes, you know, the star or hexagon, this goes down back to 0. And then when we have, you know, 3-bar buff from Bard, or, you know, Blessed Aura from Paladin, and we're hitting a con that's, you know, staggered, we have to first build this stupid ass bar. Like, right? It's very frustrating that when other people are getting their insanely high DPS buffs, we have to use our main skills to build a bar. Okay? And this is even a bigger issue for raids like Clown, because Clown is supposed to be a homework raid. You kind of want to just one-shot it, but when all these mechanics are happening and you lose all your meter, it's really hard to go through burst phase, or it's really hard to burst through things because you have to first use all your skills to get this meter. So I think Smilegate knows that this is an issue because they fixed it, okay, for Barrage by giving this meter when you go into wheelchair mode. But they haven't done it with Firepower Enhancement for some reason, which is the class that actually benefits even, you know, the most out of the two engravings. And if you read Inven, this is actually the #1 problem with Firepower Enhancement right now. It's not just a me thing. This is, if you play FP, you know this is the problem. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the best way to fix this would be. I'm not sure why they're so stubborn about giving this meter just very easily with 1 or 2 skills. Maybe it's because Barrage might be too strong or something, but they already fixed that by giving Barrage a meter from going into wheelchair. So I'm not exactly sure why Smilegate hasn't alleviated this for FP, considering the fact that even in this mode we do low damage. But yeah, I do believe that Smilegate is aware, and Firepower users in Korea are complaining a lot. So I do think this should get fixed, hopefully in the next balance patch, but this is pretty much the main issue with Firepower Enhancement. Thanks for listening to my bitching, essentially.